Mr. Beast Burger Company is suing him for $100 million. Welcome back to the trading floor. I'm Tom and I'm joined today with Joel, and we are back again on another exciting creator finance tech topic. And today it is all about Jimmy, aka Mr. Beast, and the suing and counter suing surrounding Mr. Beast Burger. Joel, what are your thoughts on this so far?
Well, it's a pretty crazy topic because they're suing each other for such a large amount of money, and Mr. Beast is obviously known for giving large amounts of money away, but Mr. Beast is holding his ground. What Mr. Beast was saying is that he couldn't guarantee the quality that these ghost kitchens were putting out. And a ghost kitchen, or a virtual dining concept that it says here, is where the restaurant doesn't actually exist. There's no physical location. It's simply a fake, not a fake, but it's just in like these back kitchens that only make food for delivery services. So you'll only be able to get these foods on Uber Eats and Deliveroo. Most likely you've probably ordered from some sort of ghost kitchen before. And Mr. Beast was basically saying that the quality was not up to standards that their contract agreed with. And so that's what the basics of this lawsuit of Mr. Beast suing virtual dining concepts is. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Tom, what are your thoughts on this as well?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because there's two aspects. So the first thing which happened is Mr. Beast is suing VDC for the lack of quality that has been produced from the ghost kitchens which are producing Mr. Beast burgers, and the result of that is he's saying the damages are his brand and his reputation, because people think that he's the one obviously producing the burgers and that they're his restaurants, and he's essentially not the one directly cooking it, but they think it's to do with him when he's not actually the one cooking it. It's other kitchens and other businesses and restaurants that are actually producing it. So he's saying that the reason he wants to leave the contract early is because he can't guarantee the quality. The quality is subpar. You know, people have had raw burgers, they've had bad experiences, and he doesn't want that to carry on with his brand. The other aspect which Jimmy is, I guess, complaining, or as a part of the lawsuit, is saying that they used his name to gain other clients. So VDC are obviously a company which use or are primarily targeting YouTubers and creators to create their own restaurants or cafes, or I guess create their own sort of menus based on utilizing ghost kitchens. But they're saying that by having such a significant figure like Mr. Beast, they could say to potentially new clients, well, here's what we've done with Jimmy, here's how the results are, here's how amazing it was, here's how amazing we are because of that. And he's saying that actually, well, if he had the ability to close Mr. Beast Burger, he would have done it a long time ago, but because he's in a contract with the company, he can't just leave the contract unless there were significant material breaches within the contract, which obviously he has to prove in his lawsuit. The difference is that he then went out and tweeted essentially saying that the quality that's being produced by Mr. Beast Burger is nothing to do with him. He doesn't believe it's right. He wants to leave. And by doing that, he said VDC are countersuing, saying that because of his fame, he's caused them significant damages of $100 million by saying that potentially new clients won't go to him, people won't buy the food, he wants to leave the contract early. There's very much difference between whether the food is deemed as material enough to be inedible food, and obviously it would put him in a much better position. But I think it's sort of a situation where Jimmy has to prove that the food's inedible to win his suit, but the other company or VDC have to say, hang on, you shouldn't have tweeted out that, because now we can countersue you for, you know, things like defamation and all of that. And that's where it's kind of at the moment.
Yeah, and some other things that VDC are saying is he didn't oblige by his contract, which included publicity and promotional work, and failing to support Mr. Beast Burgers. So he wasn't holding up his end of the deal in terms of, you know, boosting the business as much as he could. So obviously in the contract there was something that said Mr. Beast would promote Beast Burgers as much as he could. And when Mr. Beast stopped promoting it, he obviously did it for a good cause. He was saying, I don't believe this is edible, I don't believe I should be selling this to my fans. But if that is what it said in the contract, he should have continued to do it. So it's messy. It's messy, and I'm interested to see how it plays out, whether the lawsuits actually do go through. I think we will see something happen with them, but will $100 million affect Mr. Beast? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to lose, and you know, who knows if they settle outside of court. It might not even be $100 million that either one of them loses. But if Mr. Beast does lose, is this gonna impact him very much, do you think, Tom? Or do you think this is kind of like they'll settle outside of court for a X amount of millions and Mr. Beast will just go along his way?
I think it will likely go to a court case. $100 million is highly unlikely that's going to happen. That's how much they're seeking in damages, right? That doesn't necessarily mean if they win, that's what they receive. So it'll be up to the jury, or whichever court they decide to go down, whichever route. It'll be up to them to decide the amount of damages. For anyone who's interested in things like that, look at the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. That shows that it's a very similar sort of defamation case. Obviously, it's between two individuals as opposed to two entities, but they tried to sue for a certain amount. They didn't get a certain amount. They got awarded different amounts and damages and things like that. And it's up to the juries to decide the actual amount. I think $100 million is very excessive. You know, even if he didn't hold his end of the agreement, there would have to be revenue projections and all of this taken into consideration of how much revenue Mr. Beast Burger should have generated, how much VDC would have got from it. I think from Mr. Beast's perspective, he just wants rid of Beast Burger and wants to focus on Feastables, but potentially there could have been stuff that they could have come to an agreement, I think his point is that he tried to, but they didn't do anything about it. Like, if you compared it to the Sidemen with Sides, they have their own physical locations in a few box parks around the UK. And it's like, well, they control those locations. They can control the quality and what's being produced. I'm sure VDC and Mr. Beast could have invested in their own physical location and said, well, hang on, the quality of the Ghost Kitchens is not working at the moment. We want to work out a deal. Let's potentially do something different, or maybe we leave this early, or we only use certain Ghost Kitchens. Whether or not they tried to, obviously we don't have the contracts that they signed and what they agreed to, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think $100 million definitely would affect Mr. Beast. I don't think it would be possible to reach that level of damages, but I think if that was the amount that they want, it would be quite significant.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how, if it does go to a proper lawsuit, and how this whole situation would turn out. But Tom, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up this video?
Subscribe to Mr. Beast then.
Subscribe to Mr. Beast. No, don't subscribe to Mr. Beast. Subscribe to the trading floor. Yeah. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching.